What's up, Tunnel Fist Podcast, episode 9. We got Naheemah joining us tonight, and we're going to get into some questions for Naheemah. It's going to be very exciting. She's going to share some light, working with the Nike team, and we're going to get into it, have some fun tonight. So, Naheemah, tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started in fashion design, and how you ended up working with Nike.
Okay, absolutely. Kind of a long story, but I'm going to try to synthesize it. Starting off, my name is Naheemah Azor. I'm a fashion designer and a personal stylist. And I got to say, like, my start in the fashion industry, I always knew I wanted to go into fashion. I was an incredibly artistic, creative kid, and I just knew that, like, I wanted to make the world like more beautiful and make people feel more comfortable in what they wear. And I love like the accessibility that clothing and fashion has, because everyone has to wear clothes at the end of the day, right? So like clothing and style is something that touches everyone, and I think like being able to have like that impact on people's self-worth, confidence, and how they present themselves to the world is something that really inspired me from a young age. So I always wanted to pursue it, and I kind of positioned myself in a way that I was getting as much like art as well as business, because people often forget fashion is a business at the end of the day. And that led me to where I studied, which was the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising, aka FITM. It's based in downtown Los Angeles, and I attended there 4 years. It was a great experience. I learned a lot, and I really feel like the education I got there really like set me up for a position at Nike. I worked with a cohort, a team, and I didn't know that that was kind of like, in my opinion, a foreshadowing of what I would kind of be doing at Nike. And I feel like that team that I worked with really opened me up not only to designing different silhouettes for different people, and specifically more a streetwear client, which again, like foreshadowing that I was going to be at Nike, but also like obviously like getting to work with like such a robust, dynamic group of fellow young designers. And I feel like that like really positioned me. So basically, story of how I got at Nike. I like to say that I feel like it was kind of destined, because I played tennis in high school, and I mean, as like a lot of other Black women, like I was super inspired by Venus and Serena, very much so looked up to Serena. And I said to myself, I looked at a picture of Serena and I said, I will design for that woman one day. I added it to a Pinterest board. And ever since then, I've actually been continuously like adding like different people that I really wanted to design for. But I intentionally did that at the start of 2021. Fast forward to about September of 2021. COVID happened, all that jazz, moved back to the Bay Area where I'm originally from, and was just spending a lot of time being close to family. But I just really felt like I needed to go back to LA, get back into the industry. And I was just really, again, like I'm very like mindful, like with my words and like how I think. And at the time I was thinking, I was like, I need a big break. I need like a big company to work at. Like I was just like manifesting that, praying on that a lot. Like I definitely like resort back to prayer a lot of the times, doing a lot of that. And it kind of just like all the dots fell in line. One of my counselors from FITM, she told me like, hey, there's this program. It's a Serena Williams design crew. I think you'd be perfect for it. Would you be interested? And I was like, absolutely. But mind you, like I think the application was due in 2 days. In my head, I'm like, I'm not going to get this. But then like something was just telling me like, just apply anyways. I had zero expectations. I was just applying, you know? And then the fact that like, I think maybe a couple weeks later, they reached back to me being like, okay, you're going to be moving to the next round. And then I got another email a couple days after that. They're going to be like, oh, actually, we're going to send you a package. You're going to be a part of a combine. They send me this gigantic box of like Nike swag and like art supply. Honestly, I was the most excited about the art supplies. Like markers, paints, all that like creative stuff. I love that. But I actually got my first pair of AF1s from that giant box. And it was just like really it was an awesome experience. And honestly, again, this entire time I'm thinking, I'm just happy they sent me some stuff. Like I have no expectations about like going on to the next step. None of that. I'm just happy to be here. So I do the combine. It's like basically they narrowed it down from hundreds of applicants from the LA, California general area, West Coast, to about like 30 people. And we are all just doing like this really creative combine over the course of like, I believe 3 days. And it's basically just us showing our talent, showing our skills. And the amazing team at Nike, they went ahead and narrowed that down to a group of, I believe it was like 13 of us. And we became Serena Williams Design Crew Cohort 3, Los Angeles. And then I moved to Portland, Oregon in March of 2022. And I've been here ever since and working at Nike and getting to do the whole Serena Williams Design Crew experience, and it was amazing.
That is dope. You like
Wow.
manifested that, and I love that. I love
Like big manifestation.
No,
Yeah.
seriously, it's crazy because I'm sure like that's actually like happened in other points of my life, but like it's never been more clear that like your words and your thoughts and your intentions like can really like come true. So I was just very very thankful for the opportunity.
So, a question we always ask on this show. Do you have a top five best dressed WNBA player list? It can be older players, current players, whatever.
Okay, I wrote this down. Let me get my notes, guys. Like I want to
Okay.
answer
Yeah, you're
this
good. You're
for real,
good. You're
for
good.
real.
Yeah, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I got opinions. So like, let me get my notes
You're
real quick.
good.
Okay, I'm not gonna like rank them because I think they're like all incredibly talented and like like have great style. But these are my top five. I think like number one, not number one, but just first person would definitely be Angel Reese. Angel Reese is the reason why I'm watching women's basketball, and that's through and through. I love her personality. I love her style. I love her femininity. It's a really cool way that she expresses her style, and I love when you can watch someone and you look through their images and you just feel like they're dressing for themselves. I think
Hmm.
that's like super refreshing. And it's like not necessarily like every look is gonna be like 10 out of 10, but I just feel like she's being authentic to herself and experimenting. And I open up Instagram whenever I see a new outfit. I'm just like, I love that. I love that for you, girl. So I think first person definitely got to be Angel Reese. Next person I think has to go to Asia. Just because I feel like she experiments a lot. I feel like
Hmm.
people don't give
She
her enough
does.
credit for her looks. But she be doing the thing. And I feel like her looks often like foreshadow like how she's gonna play on the court. Again, like I'm a new women's basketball fan, just started watching this season, but just from like what I've seen, like I always feel like I can kind of like predict how she's gonna play based on her look. And I think that's like a little like funny like um Easter egg kind of like to watch, and I just been really enjoying like her looks. It's always like very like fun and flirty. I feel like it has like a little bit of an edge to it as well. So really love her style. And the next person I think would have to be Skylar Diggins Smith. I think she has phenomenal style. And again, like I said, I'm a new women's basketball fan, but I didn't realize how much I've been adding her looks to my Pinterest boards for years. Like
Mm.
that style is impeccable. I
Nice.
was just like, oh my god, that's her. That's her.
Oh,
Like
you were
that
adding
was
her and didn't
And
know who
you
she
didn't
was.
even know.
didn't even know, and I was just
Oh,
like,
okay.
wow, those
Oh, yeah,
are
that's
like
dope.
high fashion looks, and I'm just so thoroughly impressed with her. Like style is just so it's so good. I'm constantly taking style inspiration from her. She definitely going up on mood boards in so many rooms. So like phenomenal style from her. Um,
We got to
I
get her
think
over to the Nike team.
right.
Yeah.
I think my next person would. I mean, I guess you can probably cut this part out, but I was just like, I don't know. Is she still in the WNBA now? But I had Kaiser Gondrazic on there. I don't know
Oh,
if she's still in
I
the
mean, we'll
W.
take her because we said former, current, so we'll take
Yeah.
her.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so Kaiser
Former or current.
Gondrazic. Yeah. I really enjoy her style. I feel like it's this very like refined, classy, like Chanel vibes that she's giving. Like I feel like it's a different look than a lot of the other girls because like obviously a lot of people
Hmm.
have more of like a streetwear edge, which is really cool. Love to see that. And again, it feels like her looks are very curated and like she's just very much intentional with everything she puts on, and I can really appreciate that. And then I would say like my last person, like honestly, this could go to so many. Like, you can kind of switch out the things, but like again, like I said, become a newer fan. I am a little bit partial to the rookies. I've been loving Cameron Brink's style. I know she's out right now, but like them looks are looking like I'm just like very thoroughly impressed with her style. Honestly, she looks like a model. And I feel like everything she puts on just looks
Yeah.
phenomenal. Her in that Skims campaign was just giving very like high fashion realness. Again, images that are constantly on mood boards. So I think I have to give her credit for her style, and I would love to her and Angel, like as they continue in the WNBA, I would love to see like how their style evolves, especially like next season when they're not the rookies anymore. Like I would just love to continuously see how they develop. I feel like she's gonna be like a dark horse in this fashion game, and it's gonna be really interesting. So I got to give that last spot to Cameron.
So you had a lot of some of our and some former guests
Hmm.
in your top five present best dress that you. So we all love Skylar.
Yeah.
We can get her to Nike. That'd be dope. But so we want to jump into. I want to jump into like your personal style. Like we talked about some of the players. What is your personal style? What's your go-to pieces? How do you pick out your pieces, your fit for the day?
Okay, yeah. So I would describe my personal style as bold. I kind of like cachet bold, and I do like to play with color a lot. Like right now, like my hair is red. It's not like picking up the vibrancy on this camera, but it's pretty hot red right now. And I just love like playing around with color, whether it be my nails, my hair, my outfit, just color and just being like bold with like my silhouettes as well. And I can kind of get into that when I talk about the collection and how I incorporated that style into there as well. But just like boldness, right? Like you walk in the room and it like you're gonna leave here with some sort of impression about me, right? So bold. And then I would say like sophisticated. I've been really into business wear, whether that be like a collared button down, whether that be like a really like sharp, clean blazer, a trench coat, like fitted pants. Like I just been loving like the chic. I think they're calling it like office siren look. Again, I said Tom Ford
Mhm.
Gucci, very just like that sophisticated ooze of sexualness. Like it's I've just been loving that. So I kind of just describe that in that bucket. And then I would say edgy. I love metal. I incorporated that into the collection as well. I love like wearing like interesting like necklaces and stuff like that. Just I like a little bit of like edge to my outfits. And I kind of like will inject like some alt subculture or something into like my style, whether that be like garters, fishnets, something. I'm really into like punk rock as well, so it's just like I just love to like incorporate like a little bit of like that edge, a little bit of that alt, into my style. So I kind of those buckets like bold, sophisticated, and edgy is how I describe my
So
personal
you
style. And then, like I said, like some of my go-to silhouettes, I kind of describe that. I love a nice collared button-down top. That's literally been my like number one obsession all year round because of how versatile those pieces are. You can wear them over another tank top. You can wear them as a top itself. You can like, I literally yesterday I was just wearing one, like a really nice like satin, um, lightweight one with just like one button, and it was divine. That outfit was super cute. But just I love a button down, so that's definitely one of my go tos. Like I said, a blazer. I just feel like it instantly elevates so many different outfits, and there's a range of different blazers, double breasted, single, no buttons, like all. There's just so much you can do with a good blazer and just jacket in general. And then like I was saying, like I love jewelry. I love like a statement jewelry. I love statement bags. So those are things that I definitely play around with a lot. I don't. Did that answer your question? Did I miss something?
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
but you've mentioned Gucci and Tom Ford. So are they top in your designers, or what brands are you rocking? What do you like? What's your favorites?
Okay. So I kind of have like two buckets. There's like the brands that like I'm intentionally buying because I like there's just certain like values that I have that I like to support certain brands, right? So that's right now like in general it's going to be black owned brands. So I'm going to shout out some black owned brands. So Hanifa, absolutely love Hanifa, black woman owned, inclusive sizing, like all principles that I really care about. So I want to shout out Hanifa. I'm building up my Hanifa collection. Really great quality pieces and beautiful designs for curvier women as well. So shout out to Hanifa. And for accessories, and he's also branching into clothes. Brandon Blackwood, another black designer out in New York. I have so many of his pieces. It's starting to get embarrassing. I talk to everyone about Brandon Blackwood because that's how much I love his pieces. So I like those are two brands that I'm absolutely loving right now. So those are things that like I'm intentionally buying. Some just like brands that like historically I've loved their designs. Just like impact of me as a designer. Yves Saint Laurent, one of my favorite designers of all time. I, as a designer, love ready to wear and practical everyday clothing pieces that women specifically, because that's just generally like my focus. Women will like actually wear and will actually make their lives better in a way, you know, as much as clothing can. Like I said, like before, like talking about like confidence and just like the how you feel in your clothes. And Yves Saint Laurent being one of the pioneers of ready to wear. I think that's just huge. And also, again, like I said, I love that business chic style, and I feel like he really popularized and put that look on. So he's like one of my favorite designers of all time. And I recently just bought a YSL bag. That was a big purchase for me, just because I like to be very conscious, again, like I said, with my money. But I was like, I can't keep talking about how much I love YSL without rocking one of the bags, you know. So definitely love YSL. And like I said, I am in a Tom Ford Gucci era right now. I've been starting to like go back in the archives, look at some of those looks, and I like to just pull references from old runaways as well.
Nice.
So you are also a stylist.
Yes.
If you could work with any W players, maybe not in your top five, maybe somebody else, who would you like to style?
Ooh, somebody else. You know what? Just because like I'm a little bit obsessed with her right now. Just because I'm like I'm putting the energy out there, and I don't know if I'm going to regret saying this, but I really feel like the Lynx could take it. I like Nafisa, 100%. I have been like feeling like a connection, like we're
Mm-hmm.
connected with Nafisa. So I've been saying all season. I feel like they might take it, and if they do, Nafisa, yeah, for sure.
You want to work with Nafisa? I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. That's a great answer. That's
It
a great answer.
is. It
Yeah,
is. She's dope too.
yes.
She's super dope. And even if they don't take it, let's just put it in there. Let's just put
Oh
it in
yeah,
the
no.
universe.
No
We
matter what,
we
Yeah.
got
I want to work with
we got a
Nafisa.
Liberty fan here.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm right across the street. Yeah, I cheer for the Liberty.
Just a
Shout
Connecticut
out to
is at
Liberty.
home, and so we
No,
have a
she's
Liberty fan here.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
yeah. Hey,
I
I'm
mean,
hey, big Ellie
shout out
energy.
to the Aces. However,
I
we gonna rock with the Liberty. I'm across the street, so I feel like it's only right.
oh, you close. Okay.
Yeah, I'm close,
Oh my god,
close,
it's so
close.
late for you guys. Thank you.
Nah, this is probably fighting for her
Okay,
life.
baby.
Yeah. But I work night shift, so I mean, I'm just getting into it. This is like morning time for me.
I'm
Okay.
fighting for my life, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time. It's cool.
Ah, bless your heart. But yeah, so we'll put it into the atmosphere, into the universe, even if they don't take it. I think the is a good. I mean, she seems like she would be so like down to earth and level headed and open to ideas, and she's dope to me. I like her, even just very subtle, but
Right. No, I would just
like
love to
you
like
see
build
her
like some
coming.
iconic looks for
I
her.
I
love that
love
too.
that. Oh, I love that. Yeah,
Hmm.
iconic looks. You heard it here first.
Right. When it happens, we're gonna run this back. Like, see,
No, right. No,
see.
Uh-huh.
I'm about to put her on the Pinterest board now. Okay, that magical Pinterest board.
There
Got to
you
put her on
go. That Pinterest board ain't told you a lie, so let's do it. Let's
there.
do it.
Right.
So we can circle back and have this moment again with Nafisha
Period.
on me. All right. So look, we're gonna switch it back. Let's switch it back and go back into some of the Nike pieces. Talk about the collection. How was it like deciding the color, the style, working with the group? Like, just give us a little bit of insight on that
Um.
and some of the people that you've worked with.
Okay. Okay. So just to clarify, I was the apparel designer. So that's like designing like the silhouette, the material, like the overall garment. I'm actually wearing the infamous jacket right now. So that process was really cool because again, like I said, kind of like we're all these designers that most of us didn't know each other beforehand the collection. So it's a lot of the process was honestly just getting to know each other. and
Mm-hmm.
riffing off of like how do we interject a little bit of us into these designs, as well as trying to figure out, like I said, I talked about creating an iconic look. We were wanting to make iconic pieces under the Serena Williams brand, and iconic pieces inspired by Serena herself. So it's a lot of just like melting in like history and like some of like Serena's like iconic looks and like some of the things that like, she mentioned to us that she was really wanting to see, as well as just like thinking of those elements from our backgrounds, our culture, and ultimately, like because this was year three LA, doing something that felt really true to Los Angeles and inspired by LA, and something that just felt very like authentic, and that people from the West Coast could like really resonate with and that could see. But our whole theme like for the collection was like this idea of like bringing like LA to the world, so just like inspired, curated by LA, but like amplified out to the greater market. And I think we felt like a lot of pressure, because, Serena is from Compton, from LA.
Right.
So having like almost like this full circle moment in our collection, just like wanting to like really represent that and put that into the pieces. So again, like I said, I'm the type of designer who likes to do like a lot of research. So I kind of did like a deep dive into that. Again, like getting the opportunity to actually like meet Serena, and pick her brain on like certain pieces and like what she likes about style and just like what she likes about fashion. I remember I even asked her about like what pieces that she was pulling from her mom's closet growing up in Compton. She mentioned something about
Mm,
80s style. And then when I think of 80s style, again, I go back to like those blazers, the shoulder pads. And then I was like, oh, I want to design like this really
shoulder
dope trench
pads.
coat that has like these awesome shoulder pads and will give you like this really nice like shape, and it's angular and it feels like a little bit of 80s, but like new and very like modern. And then I got into this idea of like mixing like retro with modern, and like how can we revamp like these iconic sport motifs into like this new collection. And then I was like, oh, should I do like my own take on a tennis skirt? How can I make a tennis skirt new? So just like a lot, it honestly is a lot of back and forth like that, a lot of hours of sketching, sourcing materials in the amazing Nike materials library. And it's a lot of back and forth. And while you're having this whole conversation within myself, I was also having like these conversations with the other designers on the team, and like we're riffing off of each other. And it's like, it's a really awesome, like creative, juice flowing process. And it resulted in like what I consider like a really amazing collection. And it was actually like a two-parter. So you guys probably saw that first part, which was the spring collection, but we recently, the second half of our collection, the fall, just launched last month. So it was really awesome to see like those two collections that we designed in tandem with each other finally like come out and like see the limelight, because we're designing 2 years in advance, and also
Oh.
having to think of what are people 2 years from now going to want to
Gonna
see,
want.
going to want to wear. So there's a lot
Mm,
of trend research, a lot of just like going out and just getting inspiration. And I think that's a lot of the parts of being a designer that people don't necessarily always think about. And just like we really do live in the future a lot of the times. Like honestly, I have to constantly remind myself of what year we're in, because I'm already designing stuff for 2026. So I'm like I keep thinking I'm in 2026. So it's a lot of that. So it's a really cool, fun, just creative process.
This
that's hella
jacket was
dope.
really, really dope. Like, oh, let me just tell everybody how this whole interview happened. So, if you don't watch the style guides that we post on IG, you're missing out. But what we do is break down the outfit. We try to identify as much of the outfit as we can, break it down, tell you what it's called, where you can get it. So I posted that on TikTok, and Naheemah commented and then said, I worked on that. So we DM'd a little bit and we got it here. But that jacket, so Caitlin wore it as a crop, and I was like, "Oh, this is nice." And I started doing my research. I was like, "Oh, it's a 3-in-1."
Yep.
Oh, and then I saw the blue, and blue is like an ombre. I said, "Oh, this is really dope." I was like, "Can I pull this off?" I was like, I think it's a little too early, but it
I
it
think you
was
can
a
pull it
it's a
off.
nice piece. And then I saw it was a part of the Serena Williams collection. I was like, "Oh." I loved it. I loved everything about it. And shout out to the cohort and you, because you guys, that jacket, it underrated. If you have one, congratulations. If you missed out, you better go thrift it and try to find it, because that's a good piece.
Thank you so much.
That's
Literally, like hearing that feedback and like all the feedback that I've been getting about the collection, and just like everyone specifically like loving the jacket, and I designed it to be the hero piece in like the moment of the collection. So like I'm just it's like literally just like again 2 years ago me being like validated, finally
mhm.
because
Yeah.
I my friend actually interviewed me. She has a blog called The Chic Happens, and I was talking with her about how I had to fight for this jacket. I had to fight for it, because just like the nature of design, like it's a very like free, like I said, free flowing, fluid moment. There's so many designs that we designed that did not make it into the final cut, right? And this jacket was something, like I said, like with that story of like 80s fashion inspiration, I wanted to do from the beginning. I knew that it like this needed to be in the collection. And it's just like there's so many stages where it's like it could have not happened. So like it's just incredibly validating that it's received like such like high praise. And again, like Caitlin wearing it was just like we had no idea that was gonna
Mhm.
happen. So like that was just like so surreal, and just again, like I said, like an incredibly validating moment. And I just love like seeing like all the different people like styling their outfits. Like a lot of people have sent me like videos and stuff. It's really cool. And just so people know, like if you have this tan color, this one is also an ombre. It's just a little bit more subtle. We wanted to do something that like kind of like was like a classic homage, to the classic Burberry trench. So not
Mhm.
too dramatic of a color shift, but it's a slight ombre. But yeah, the blue is just that's a moment right there.
That
That's
blue is
so
fire.
dope. That's so dope.
Mhm.
That's so dope to hear and come to life. And oh, look at Caitlin, another. She's full of surprises. I only said, I said that because why you do me like that?
Shady boots. That's okay.
Ah, okay.
Oh,
Well, I did. I said that because no,
sorry.
I'm gonna
Do you think
explain. No. So we want to talk about what are some of the challenges that you faced working with Nike? Well, it just in general being a black woman in the fashion industry, and then just talk about some advice you would give for those who are looking to get into the industry, pursue with a big company. Just talk about what would be something that you would talk to or speak to those who are looking forward to that.
Okay, for sure. I want to say like anything I say about this is like it could go for a lot of companies in the corporate sphere. For a black woman, I think I've heard so many stories of like people like through TikTok, social media, like talking about stuff, and there's so many similarities. But I think like specifically when it comes to fashion, it just ends up being like a even more of like a kind of like a microcosm for a lot of things to happen, just because of how competitive the industry is and how focused it is on appearance and about looks and like stuff like that at
Mhm.
the end of the day. So I think this could be applied to like so many different like spheres of where black women are working. But it's hard. It's hard for sure. It's definitely a challenge. I think things are getting better as generations go by, but like as and I would say like it's even particularly difficult, I would say, like as like a young black woman going into the industry, because I think a lot of people don't consider how ageism could actually work in the reverse. I think a lot of people
Hmm.
think that it's only, for older people. I'm sure they probably have it worse, but it can really affect you coming into the industry. A lot of people do not want you here, right? And you gotta fight day in and day out to have your spot, because you earn that and you work 10 times harder to get there, right? So it's a challenge, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for anyone who wants to get into this industry. It's hard. But I think like if you have a real passion for what you want to do and passion for fashion, all that kind of stuff, it's 1,000% worth it. I think so, because again, I'm doing what I love to do. I'm getting to affect how people view themselves, and like bring happiness and joy and creativity to this world. And like I said, like that feeling and that validation that you get like when you see people in your pieces, it's like it's not like anything else. So it is incredibly hard, but it's also incredibly worth it. And just like I said, like the ageism definitely comes into effect. Growing numbers of black people in corporate spaces, but it's
Mhm.
tiny. You know, because like what they say, like we make like 13% of the population. We're probably only at 1% in these businesses. Honestly, like is not enough of us here, and we need to be, especially the companies where we affect the culture, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So we
There
Yeah.
you
need
go.
to have so many more of us in these spaces, and I think the spaces need to be more welcoming, obviously more culturally conscious to be able to accept us into there. And I think, like, again, all these things, they're in the works. So many people are having these conversations at the same time. I know they're all working on it, because this is, like I said, for all the companies I've worked for, the same stuff could be applied to. But like they're working on it, but it's just, you know, like for the people who are here, sometimes it's not fast enough, you know. And I think it's just going to take like a collective, concerted effort. And like I said, at the end of the day, support Black-owned businesses.
Do you feel like you have to like constantly validate your seat at the table?
I would say so. I think some people definitely have it a little bit more in a challenging position, because, like I said, I am still like a newcomer here. I think the people at those higher positions, they got to fight. Like it's very challenging. And I've seen it. Yeah, it's incredibly challenging. But I would say, like, I definitely haven't experienced as much of that. And I'll definitely acknowledge that privilege. But it's just, yeah, it's a challenge. I think it's harder the higher up you go,
Yeah, I think that's across the board, especially in corporate America.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's next for you? Maybe
Ooh,
outside of work, or it could be at work. I mean, whatever you want to give us.
say I'll talk to outside of work, because, like I said, like we're constantly working on amazing things that we'll be seeing in a few years. So obviously, you got to keep that tight. But like outside of work, I'm really trying to grow this styling thing. I started styling when I was in college, and I was doing like a little bit more of like the celebrity styling aspect and doing like the assistant styling, like, you know, grind level. But within the past year, I've really started doing personal styling, and working with clients from all over the country, and doing things like this, just like having Zoom call conversations with them, and like really getting to know them on a personal level, understand their lifestyle, picking pieces in my local community and sourcing it for them and their body shape and all that kind of stuff. That's been super refreshing and super insightful, because then, like, obviously, the more knowledge that I'm gaining about these everyday women is going into informing, making me a better designer for the new clothing that, you know, we want to see in the future, right? And I'm big on innovation. I'm big on inclusivity. I'm big on sustainability, and I'm constantly just looking for ways to further improve my design skills and improve the world that we see through clothing. So just like all this knowledge and stuff has been like really exciting to accumulate. I want to travel more. I've been going to New York. I went to New York this past summer, and it was a great experience. So I want to go to New York more. The sourcing, the fashion out there is obviously so amazing. I'm planning on going to New York Fashion Week for the first time in February, and I think that's going to be an
Nice.
awesome experience. I'm working on like just a little, you know, a little something special for that. So I think that'll be an exciting moment. So look out for February. So I'm working on a lot of things in that sphere. So I think that's all I can say right now.
It's on my bucket list to go to New York Fashion Week, actually. I'm right across the street, so if I'm still here, you'll have to let me know.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I would come over and support for sure.
Thank you.
Where can the people follow you?
People can find me at Naheemah Azor Designs on Instagram and TikTok. And they can also find me at naheemahazor.com, which is like my website where I do my styling. I have my custom orders on there. I'm also doing a lot of vintage sourcing and finding like specialty pieces for clients. And whatever doesn't make it to a client, let's say like in Pennsylvania, I offer it up on my website, because it's still an amazing piece that I want someone to be able to find, just because a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
don't have access to good vintage in their communities.
That's pretty dope. That's
I
pretty
like
dope.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's real dope. That's real dope. Well, that's all we got. I mean, we're gonna wrap up the episode. Thank you, Naheemah, again for joining us. Episode 9 of Tunnel Fits podcast. It's been a pleasure. We've learned a lot about you, your personal style, who you enjoy watching. Enjoy a newcomer from the WNBA. We'll take it and give all the ladies their flowers. And hopefully, you'll be able to work with some of those ladies in the future. And just giving us some insight on your projects with Nike. And it's been really dope talking to you. So we appreciate you on the show. And we look forward to hearing from you again because I feel like that Pinterest board is going to come alive again.
Oh, it's gonna
Yes.
go crazy. Yes.
Yeah, that Pinterest board gonna come alive again. So thank you.
No, thank you so much for having me. This is actually my first podcast I've ever done. So
Yeah.
awesome. First time newbie experience here. It was actually really insightful for me to talk through a lot of these things, just like as a designer doing like a lot of self-reflection and stuff. So amazing experience. I feel like this podcast is also going to do big things. So I'm excited to see where you guys go.
Thank you. That's love. We appreciate that. Odin?